Wow. All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to see how close we can get. There's a massive fire you can see up ahead. Look at all that smoke. This is Allen's Avenue. I'm going to adjust the screen in just a moment. So bear with me. We're going to see how far we can get and set up. Again, up ahead you can see, so there's a massive fire at the scrapyard. This is Allen's Avenue in Providence, and you can see all the smoke, and we're going to just see how far and close that we can get to the scene. So we have time. Thought, since we're going to be mobile at noon, I thought we might as well go. This is without question. Now, as we're getting closer, you can see it does look like it's blocked off. So we're going to see how close we can get to the scene. That car is going off, which is good for us. And so I can see channel 10 to the left. But we're going to see how far we can. We're going to see how close we can get, is what I'm trying to say. So now there is, let me just check the scenario here. Are they letting, oh, they are letting traffic through. Okay. Oh, they're all setting up right there on the right. So we don't want to go too far. Oh, wow. Okay, you can see. All right, I'm going to come around back the other side, and then we're going to be able to flip it. So everyone just bears with me. We're going to turn around. Who knows? Maybe we can even do it right from here. Maybe not. All right. You can actually, this is not bad. You can see the hoses straight ahead. It's a little bit of a difficult scene. But that's not bad. That's not bad. Let me check in with JR. Good. Okay. All right. Now there's a better shot actually that I want to get, and I'm going to wait until we launch and go live. Again, folks, good afternoon. You are listening. This is the John DePietro Show. It's AM 13. And right now at 12:06, this is the real news at noon. And we have breaking news. I'm going to reset. If everyone could just be a little patient. There's a massive fire at a scrapyard right on Allen's Avenue in Providence. You can see the flames for miles. I'm going to readjust our shot. For those that are watching, you can watch it. We're live right now on both Facebook and also on X, obviously on the radio, and also on YouTube. So we're going to try to get a better shot. I believe we have a better shot. And what I mean by that is just a better angle for everyone that's going to be watching right now. And so that's what I'm going to try to shoot for. If what you're looking at right now, those that are watching us, the video, you can see exactly, I'm going to describe what you see, which is right behind there is the scrapyard, and you can see the massive hoses. But this whole area is foggy and hazy, as a matter of fact. So now I want to also just bring you up to speed. This is the big news of the day, at least for this morning, and we'll bring you up to speed on that. I do want to try to. You can see it kind of jostling around. It's a pretty good angle and shot. I'm going to go back around and then see if we can capture that, because if I could get into a better spot, then you could really see everything that is happening with that. But folks, right now, again, during this noon report, we try to be mobile, and we are doing that. And this portion of the real news at noon, and it's brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Folks, remember, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Stop in and see them, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown, where right now, especially, they have tremendous sweet corn, native tomatoes, all locally sourced vegetables. Steve Debbie Jr. Byron, Rhode Island's #1 garden center. What a season they're having at PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. They also have large selection of beautiful patio pots, vegetable plants, and herbs. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown, right off of Route 4, full-scale nursery, open 7 days a week. Home or business, you're going to love the service and the selection at PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Well, folks, I also want to encourage you to visit DePietro.com, where great news, great job by the Woonsocket Police. That is fantastic. They have the suspect in custody. It's my understanding they got him late last night. This was on July 1st, so a little over a week ago. This individual, you had a dispute in the city of Woonsocket, and someone allegedly, according to the witnesses, used their car as a weapon and then ended up fatally hitting an individual. And the person they got in custody, Andrew Martin. So it's my understanding Woonsocket police grabbed him last night. They've been trying to catch him. He's been in and out, cat and mouse, but they did catch him. Great job by the Woonsocket police. Andrew Martin is in custody after Mike LaBeouf was fatally struck by him. And so now he's charged with murder. Now, I also want to draw your attention, folks, to the Petro.com. We have Providence Police body cam video of that Vicksburg armed suspect. This is a very dangerous individual who, by all accounts, he not only armed robbery, but pistol whipped someone. And you can see great job by the Providence Police with that, where they had to go in, and the individual, there he was. I mean, he was sleeping under a gun on the couch right in the living room. And so they were able to get him. So, but folks, remember, DePietro.com, brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. As we like to say, lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge, and they're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. All right, so right now, as we are live, I'm going to try to get us a better visual of what you're looking at right now. And this was, if you've seen, and we will post on the Facebook page, and we'll get a thread going, because there was a massive fire. And obviously, because Allen's Avenue is right at, 95 North. So those that are watching, here is the scene. And I'd like to try to get an angle that we could kind of go and see if we can aim it that way, so you can just get a better sense of the massive scene. There's the canteen and everyone. Those, again, that are watching, nope, that's not the angle that we want. All right, we're going to try a different angle, everyone. Bear with me. What we're trying to do, obviously, very different. Where we're going to try to bring you this, and it is at this scrap metal yard. But if you saw some of the flames, there were just massive flames and smoke that could be seen. And obviously, because it borders 95, then in fact, I think I can get a better angle. Then you could you could really, anyone go by on the highway, you saw massive flames and smoke. So I'm going to let the traffic subside a little bit. It would seem right now, I don't see any new smoke. So it would seem that they have this under control. So because of, we try to, when we can, be mobile at noon, we thought we would at least try. Now, there's a little bit tricky here, unless I can get behind channel 12, which would be great. There's the news stations right there. And then it's going to be a little bit difficult for those that are watching, but I think we can manage it if everyone is just bear with me, and then we can set it up and show you exactly what everybody else is seeing and looking at. So I think we're going to be in luck with the type of view that we're trying to set up here. Pretty confident we can do that. And again, this was a massive fire. Now, also, we are going to talk to Ken Block coming up. The latest on the bridge fiasco with Governor McKee yesterday in that ridiculous press briefing with Governor McKee. So if everyone holds on just one moment, folks, and again, we are live right now, and if everyone just bears with me, you're going to be able to see exactly the scene, which is the scrap metal fire. I think I can do it this way if everyone just hold on, everyone. And again, I know we are keeping an eye on what's going on, obviously, in Washington. All right, this is a little bit difficult, but as soon as the traffic clears, you should be able to see what we're going to be looking at right now. It's just a little difficult because of the traffic and the flow, but as soon as the traffic moves, which it is moving, you're going to be able to see it. So there is, in fact, the scene right now. Let me just give a good visual. Okay, here you can see they're still battling the fire. Folks, we are live. You can see the media is set up right there. Now, I know someone could say, well, why don't you just go out and go over there? But then we never know on the connection. And then we want to keep things on track a little bit. But that is, you can still see in the back, you can see the massive flames that this thing is involved in. And if I know it's a little tricky. Now, folks, while I'm adjusting this, I want to also, obviously, the big story is what's going on in D.C. right now regarding President Biden and this whole notion that, by all accounts, him trying to stay in power, even though, by all accounts, everyone in his party wants him to get out. As I had said last hour, and I think this is going to work. I think that's going to work. We're going to try that for those that are watching. At least this way you can then get a sense of that. That is ground zero for the flames and for this massive fire that is happening right now. And again, it does seem you can still see. I do still see some smoke, but it looks like they are getting this thing under control. So at 12:16, I just want to stay on schedule here. And right now, I think we're going to keep it like that just for a moment. I think that's decent. That's actually, all things considered, as I'm looking at it, that's actually not a bad angle. And you can kind of see the whole thing that is going on. So we're going to keep it like that just for the time being. And unless I can see a different place that we could set up, but I think right now, and as I'm looking at that angle, you can get a good sense of the scene, exactly what's happening over there. And again, the most important thing to me is just this is something that I'm very anxious that we want to try, which is that we're when we can be mobile during this lunchtime. So during this Doom report. So we're going to just actually let it sit right there. I know it's a little bit blocked, but all things considered, it's actually not bad. Now, also, we are going to talk to Ken Block um, coming up at 1 o'clock. I think we're going to talk to Ken, unless I'm trying to be a little too aggressive here with our coverage. I also want to just hold on, everybody. I recognize this is one of those things where I don't blame people for saying, you realize you're live, correct? I do realize that we're live. And right now you can see it does look like the fire is somewhat under control. I still have people messaging me, do you have anything on the fire on Allen's Avenue? Yes, as a matter of fact. We're right outside the fire on Allen's Avenue, down by the scrapyard. You can tell that it certainly does seem to be under control. Now, let me stay on schedule, and I think we're actually going to move to a new spot. This portion of the program is brought to you by, you know what they're going to need to do? They're going to need to call AJ Drywall Plasters and Home Improvement at 401-323-9252. Remember, folks, AJ Drywall Plasters Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. Frame to finish basements, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They're going to have to do it all. It's AJ Drywall Plasters and Home Improvement. Call them, whether it's an in-law apartment or frame to finish basements or an unfinished garage. They can do it all. AJ Drywall Plasters and Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. By the way, I also want to mention a couple of announcements. Number one, I can sit outside and I'm not bitten. Why is that? Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. Call them. They have a great Facebook page. You can call them 401-426-2032. I am sharing their Facebook page. Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island. Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. And they will rid your property of mosquitoes and bugs. It's really amazing. I can sit outside and I'm not eaten alive. Folks, it's Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. And I also want to remind you, as we're staying on schedule here, and we are going to actually relocate to a new spot, but I also want to remind you that Alan Hockman is running a Red Sox road trip to see the Baltimore Orioles. It's August 16th through the 18th. Includes round-trip motor coach transportation, tickets in the all-you-can-eat suite Friday at 7 o'clock, tickets in the Saturday's game at 7, 2 nights at the Marriott Sheraton, Marriott Inn at Harbor. I've stayed there. I've gone on this trip. It's a great trip, and you walk to the game. So call 401-274-TRIP, Alan Hockman Tours, Red Sox Orioles. It's really fun to see your team on the road. August 16th through the 18th, 274-TRIP. Call 274-TRIP or online at 274trip.com. Well, folks, again, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Now, for everyone that is watching, we're going to move a little bit. We are mobile. For those that are watching, what you are looking at, and I'm just going to adjust it, this is in fact the situation regarding what is happening with this massive fire down on Allen's Avenue, right at the waterfront. So we're just gonna relocate where we are at this moment. So for anyone that is watching, don't worry, we're gonna adjust. I'm just waiting for an opportunity. We're gonna go and turn around, and then we're gonna bring you the latest. Hold on, there's some emergency vehicles that are coming by for some reason. So we're actually stopped at the moment, but don't worry, we're going to be able to move in just a moment. So we're in a little bit of a well, we're in a holding pattern is what we're in at the moment. So now I want to just double check that McKee press briefing yesterday, I thought was really embarrassing, and I invited Ken Block to come on and talk about it with us, and he's going to join us at 12:30. So Ken Block is going to join us at 12:30 to talk about the McKee press briefing. In order to do that, I'm actually going to have to move. Okay, I think we can move right now. So if this, okay, we're going to just, for those that are watching, we're going to kind of go and turn around. So the McKee press briefing, oh, it's too bad. That's a good shot right there. But I think I have a good idea of where we can set up so those that are watching can see this. Hey, I know who that is. All right, and there you see in this channel 10 there, setting up right there. I think I can, I thought I could go in there. All right, so folks, again, all the media is down here, only because this was obviously clearly a massive fire. But I want to just mention the notion of Governor McKee yesterday, and hear me out. For those that are watching, we're going to relocate where we are so we can get a better sense of this whole thing. But first of all, the whole logistic setup of Governor McKee, where he was really thin-skinned, and it's moments like that then I wish I had gone. I knew they wouldn't have any answers. I can't even listen to this nonsense anymore. But just hear me out. Just the sheer logistics of the whole thing. I think we're actually going to stay right here. Of the situation of where they wanted to have this thing where they were getting up and then sitting down and then getting up again. Oh, good. I think I can go right here. And then the whole thing was just ridiculous how Governor McKee was just, what I'm trying to say is the nature of how it was structured. Like, what was all the up and down? And you don't need all those people, by the way. The only ones they needed was the governor and Peter Alvini. I don't know why the rest of these people were all even there, other than Governor McKee just likes to have like a lot of people, and then it kind of clouds it. And he's big on that. But if you saw the McKee briefing, all of this up and down that they were doing was just totally ridiculous. So I don't know what that was all about. Of, he's getting up and talking, and then Alvini's getting up and talking, and how they kept going back and forth like that. And then every time, like, Governor McKee would sit down, and then all of a sudden he would have to leap back up because then someone would have a question for him. And that was his staff that set that up. So I don't know why he was getting so huffy with the press, because it was his people that structured the nature of the whole thing. Now, folks, again, for those that are just tuning in, you're seeing there's been a massive fire at the scrapyard in Providence. And so we're right on the outskirts of that. And, I think I actually see where I can get even a better angle. Folks, as those that are watching, I do want to, as I'm going to adjust them, we're going to talk to Ken Block coming up at 12:30, which should be interesting. Folks, I want to remind you, I'm in Providence. I'm not far from Don Jose's Tequila. That's right. Authentic Mexican restaurant, 351 Atwells Avenue in Providence. Don Jose's Tequila, over 50 tequilas. They have the back patio, dining up front on Saturday nights, al fresco, Monday through Thursday, $26.99 3-course special. Plus, they have the margarita flights, $29.99. Last night was Taco Tuesday, 3 to 7. They do a brunch on Sunday, 10:30 to 3. If you watch Road Patrol Live, we were in Hartford Avenue Projects last night for the shooting, but right up on Federal Hill, Atwells Avenue, Don Jose's Tequila, over 50 high-end tequilas, authentic Mexican food. All right, I'm going to, maybe as we're talking to Ken Block, I'm going to attempt to, well, all right, I'm in a little bit of a difficult area here, but they're letting me stay here. So, but I think I found a better spot that we can actually relocate to. And what I mean by that is I mean that anyone that is watching, you're going to be able to get a better view and you can catch that. And as I'm kind of setting up into a different spot, boy, that's a big truck going into a short space on right on Allens Avenue. Folks, I want to remind you, people keep asking me about FenceRI.com. FenceRI.com. Call them today, 401 732 0555. 401 732 0555. FenceRI.com. And the thing about FenceRI.com is, remember, $200 off when you mention our program. Mention the John DePietro Show. You get $200 off. FenceRI.com. Wood deck construction, licensed and insured. Look for them on Facebook. $200 off if you end up doing a fence with them with FenceRI.com, and call them at 401 732 0555. The premier fence and deck contractor. All right, as we're waiting to bring on Ken Block, I believe that I can relocate us to a better spot angle. So if everyone is just patient just for a moment, I think I can maneuver this, and then you're going to love the new angle that we have. Those that do watch Road Patrol or watch a lot of our video, a huge, I'm always trying to find the best angle so you, the viewers, can view it. And I think you're gonna like it. I think we have been able to do it. I am in the amazing superstore parking lot. No one should read anything into that. So, all right, I think we have been able to do it. I'm going to adjust our view for those that are watching. And again, you can watch on our different platforms, which are Facebook Live and also X, and also on YouTube. So I believe that's actually a pretty good shot that you can see right across. That is the scrapyard right on Allens Avenue, and that is where this massive fire took place. So, all right, now we're going to try this. I think we can do it. And there he is. Folks, joining us right now, and this is very exciting, and I believe we have him. Yep.
Hey, John, how are you?
All right. Good afternoon, Ken Block.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ken. Now, Ken, first of all, folks, so this is different. We have the split screen where we see Ken Block on one side, but I think it's fine. And then you have this breaking news of the fire on Allens Avenue. Ken, I want to start off. Yesterday, this was the first press briefing that we've heard since the failed, no bids came in. And that's what I want to talk about. And before we get into some of the dynamics of it, and you've been so outspoken and knowledgeable about this situation regarding the Washington Bridge, just as someone that's been involved in politics and also in business, and you've done different presentations, Ken, could you just comment on just the nature. First of all, they started 10 or 12 minutes late, and the whole thing just from the beginning. But just the format where Governor McKee likes to stack the room with all these different individuals, and then this business that he would sit down, and then he would have to stand back up again and walk up to the mic, and then Peter Alviti would sit down and then have to stand back up again and walk up to the mic. Just like Ken, they can't even like orchestrate a proper press conference.
I don't think McKee's handlers really shouldn't let him run any more press conferences. He's really bad at it. Has trouble stepping on his own feet when talking about issues like the bridge. He's defensive. He says really dumb things. He's really only hurting himself when he goes out in front of the public and has these ridiculous press conferences regarding the bridge where he's not giving the people what they need.
Ken, let's talk about I'd like to hear some of your thoughts yesterday. I mean, his talking points are so identifiable. You got to ask the legal people. We've hired legal people. He's the governor. He's the one elected. Some things that just stood out to me was he didn't have any answers. They have no timeline. And I just, it's still, well, I want to hear some of your thoughts and I'll share some of mine.
So the McKee's original timeline for this project, trying to get it done a month before the gubernatorial primaries in 2026, which I believe are late August. That was an unrealistic deadline. It was a politically driven deadline. It was a stupid deadline.
Yep.
It was so ambitious that it was one of the major reasons why no company bid on taking on this project. The other problem with the framework that the state put together for the bids were it heaped a gigantic amount of risk on whoever was going to win the contract. And what I mean by risk was the state would said things like, hey, if there's toxic contamination underneath the bridge, that's on the winning vendor to deal with it.
Right.
Right now, if you're a vendor, you have to price this thing to make money. How do you price that kind of uncertainty? The state knows whether there's toxicity under the bridge or not. They should have said so. They didn't. As another example in the RFP, the other thing the state said was, well, if the vendor determines that the underwater infrastructure has to be ripped out and replaced, that's on the vendor as well, as opposed to saying the state has determined that the underwater structure is either good or bad and tell the vendors what they're supposed to do, not only assign responsibility without giving the vendors any certainty, right? I mean, so it's like, it was a stupid, terrible RFP. The timelines were political. They weren't reasonable by any stretch of the imagination. I half wonder if McKee has now given up on this project because since there's no chance it gets done before the primary, has he come to the realization that his goose is cooked, right? I mean, who knows what's really going on there, but we need professionals running these projects and we don't have it.
Folks, again, you can hear the sirens in the background. So the regional response team, if you're watching, and we are live on both, on all three, Facebook and X, and also YouTube, and then you can also hear us, obviously, on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. What you're seeing is Hazmat is now responding to this massive fire, the scrapyard on Allens Avenue, but then at the same time, split screen, we are talking with our friend Ken Block about the McKee press conference yesterday with the Washington Bridge. Ken, I also noticed for someone that, boy, he seemed very short-tempered yesterday. He was very short-tempered with Tim White. I thought all the questions were legitimate. I even think Pat Ford was legitimate when he said, maybe you should think about not running and just using the remaining time in office to just focus on trying to fix this bridge.
Right. I think it's hard for any incumbent politician to think about exiting before their full set of terms is up, which is what Pat was suggesting the governor do. Similarly to what people are pretty much screaming at Joe Biden to do right now, which
Right.
is get out of the way. Right? I mean, it's hard. It's hard to willingly give up the seat of power. I think we can take that assumption to the bank. Again, McKee is just horribly suited to doing this sort of work, to
Yeah.
handling the details necessary here to get this job done. He's really not. I don't. Doesn't look like he's spent a lot of attention on this procurement. He's letting the DOT do its thing, and the DOT did him dirty with what they just did. So I can't feel bad for him. McKee has been off base on this since the day the crisis happened.
Yep.
He's been knocked back at least one or two steps by the whole thing. Uh, he needs a better person running these press conferences than he is. He says stupid, dumb things that just piss people off. And, I think his goose is cooked. I don't know how he makes the case that he deserves another term as governor when this whole fiasco with the bridge has been handled so poorly.
Folks, my guest, our 12:30 guest, is our friend Ken Block. Again, you're listening to the John DePietro Show. Ken, you're someone that has dealt and bid on contracts with state government. I remember, to me, when you first kind of broke onto the scene, one of the things that stood out that I recall was that you had secured the contract, I believe, with the state of Texas regarding Medicare fraud. Yep. And being able to detect that. What does it tell you that, see, what gets me is not only does Governor McKee not know the proper way to put something out, you would think a number of companies would want to bid on such a high profile and also very lucrative type of contract, because you're talking, hundreds of millions of dollars here. But not only does he not know, he seemingly doesn't have anyone in his circle that allowed them to put out trying to solicit bids, and it was so egregious that no one bid on it.
Yeah. So the Texas contract I had was for the food stamp program.
That's right.
And I read the RFP that the state put out for the bridge, and a lot of engineers that I have been communicating with throughout all of this also read through those RFPs, and every one of them said the same thing. There's far too much risk that the state has offloaded onto the winning vendor. There's not nearly enough detailed information that we all know the state knows, but the state didn't include that information in the proposals. More importantly than bidding on a lucrative contract is making sure you don't bid on a contract and win a contract that's going to ruin you.
Right.
And I believe that every single company that didn't bid, which was all of them, made the determination that this contract was too risky and would harm their companies were they to win it.
Wow.
And I can't disagree with them. I believe that's exactly correct. And shame on the DOT, shame on McKee. McKee, I keep saying he said really dumb things. The dumbest thing he said when the news broke that nobody bid on the bridge, he was at the airport, and I think he told WPRI that, that wasn't a surprise. We suspected nobody was going to bid on it.
Think of that. That is ludicrous, Ken Block.
We are in a crisis. We have people spending hours and hours a week stuck in traffic. Yep. McKee's traffic jam, right? Yes. He owns it. And his response to all of that, right? His level of crisis management was, oops, we put out an RFP that we thought nobody would bid on, and they didn't. That's crazily
It is
bad. Crazily bad.
Ken, you know what else I noticed? And again, folks, the press briefing was yesterday. I thought the governor was very defensive. Now he's not even offering a timeline. But Ken, he also, the perception I got was he almost acts as though his responsibility began on December 11th, because he just keeps going back to, on December 11th, I made the decision to close the bridge, even though we know he sent Alviti alone out onto television. And then he went to Hope High School for whatever reason to be involved with their basketball practice. But that I don't accept that that's the timeline. December 11th. That's when they closed the bridge. But Ken Block, he took over for Gina Raimondo in March of 21. So if you just do the math, I mean, from March of 21 to December 11th of 21, okay, it's not a full year, but he was governor that entire time. He was governor all of 2022. And you go through basically all of last year until December, and it was the weekend of the Army Navy game. I don't accept his rendition that basically he acts like he walked in the door on December 11th, and then now he's just trying to fix the problem. He was in office, Ken Block, for at least 2 years, if almost 3 years, that it was his obligation to have people inspecting that bridge and all our bridges and come to the determination of whether or not it was safe.
His only chance to have avoided responsibility for all of this would have been to, the day after the bridge had to be closed by surprise, firing everybody at the DOT.
Right.
He should have sent all DOT management packing because of this crisis and the fact that they didn't see it coming. He has stood by Alviti the whole way. And remember, Alviti's been in this job since 2016.
15.
15. It's
Yes.
even worse.
Yep.
So Alviti is fully aware that this bridge, that engineers told the DOT in 2012, 2013, and 2015 that the bridge should be closed to large trucks. And it wasn't closed to large trucks. That was a decision the DOT made to
Yep.
not do that. So Alviti owns this mess going way back. He's the guy in charge. Igliozzi, who is probably the effective guy in charge at the DOT. I think Alviti has a pretty hands-off approach to everything. Igliozzi is very much hands-on. Igliozzi owns this completely. Alviti owns this completely. McKee owns this completely. And what McKee is desperately trying to do is avoid assigning any accountability into the DOT for any of this.
Yeah.
And that's shameful. And, that's fine. I mean, so McKee is falling on his sword for everybody else at the DOT. It's not enough for McKee to lose the next election because of this bridge. That cast of characters at the DOT need to be shown the door, and the locks need to be changed as soon as they're outside.
Ken Block, before I let you go, what do you also make of the fact of the Max Wistow and so forth? It's likely they're going to sue over the bridge decision by early next month, but I just have a problem that they're not elected. What is your take on the fact that Governor McKee almost just kind of pawns everything over to them, and they'll answer that, and it's almost, to me now, like he's trying to just act like he's following legal counsel when there's a lot more at stake here about responsibility and obligations to the taxpayers.
Right. So the lawyers who are being used to avoid any kind of accountability and discussion of responsibility by the governor, those lawyers are involved in one thing and one thing only: recovering money from vendors. They're not looking at, nor do they really have the knowledge or the legal responsibility to evaluate what kind of responsibility the DOT has for this mess. And honestly, the amount of money that they can recover in a lawsuit isn't really all that big relative to the $500 million this thing's going to take to rebuild the bridge. I think this is a punting mechanism that the governor has put in place to maybe permanently delay his so-called day of reckoning. I know I didn't listen to the press conference today, so I don't know what the lawyers said. I'm sure they didn't say much of substance. And it's so frustrating. Everything the DOT has done has been to not be transparent. They've really clammed up. They've made it very difficult for the media to get access to information that should be publicly available through open records. All of it stinks of a cover-up.
Yeah.
And the cover-up's always worse than the crime.
Folks, again, and we will have him back. But Ken, I want to thank you. You've been so outspoken and a leader on this. Folks, it is the great Ken Block. Ken, excellent job as always, and we'll talk to you again.
Thanks, John.
All right, folks, there it is. And it is Ken Block right here on the John DePietro Show. So, that actually worked out pretty well. Now, right now, staying on schedule, you're looking at it's 12:47. It is Wednesday, July 10th, and you're listening to the John DePietro Show. This is the real news at noon, and this has been the real breaking news at noon, where what you're looking at on the screen, and you can see us on Facebook Live, and also on YouTube Live, and also X, formerly Twitter Live, and then obviously on AM 13, listen on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. You can also listen I want to thank the great Jeff Gamache. I mean, the signal on the website, the streaming is just fantastic. But this is a massive fire that took place on Allen's Avenue at the scrapyard. People have sent me some video of it. I will be later today sharing some of that video that is really, really remarkable. And I'm just, for those that are watching, I'm going to share. You can see some of the images. That's from Ryan at Channel 12. They were right down the street. I think they're working on another story. And then they kind of stumbled into this when it first happened. So very, very dramatic with the smoke. Again, those that are watching the video portion of it, boy, look at those flames with the scrap metal yard on Allen's Avenue. And then obviously Providence Fire, they jumped into position. I think I have, here's some more video again. That's Ryan of Channel 12. And again, if you're watching on any of our platforms, you can see it. That, I also, it makes no sense that right there along the water at the port that they have a scrap metal yard. Now, as far as Washington, and now I also have some original video that people have filmed. But I just want to finish up on the bridge from another moment. The only thing that appears certain about the bridge is previous costs and time have proven worthless. Listen, the whole McKee element of this has just been a disgrace. Boy, there's still first responders arriving here. Still first responders. Yep. Oh my God. Holy cow. Wow. All right, I'll deal with that afterwards. Yes, we have some more video that we'll be dealing with. So, folks, right now it is 12:50, and you're listening to the John DePietro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Remember, you can always listen online at our website, which is depetro.com. So, all right, big news in Woonsocket. They grabbed that Andrew Martin who was wanted. So that was big. I want to commend Chief Oates and his team with the Woonsocket police. And I'm going to talk about the latest with the Biden situation, and then also we are going to I want to mention the bridge again. Folks, this portion of the John DePietro Show is brought to you by Royal Exteriors. If you need a new roof or new siding, call Andrew at Royal Exteriors, 401-533-9989. 401-533-9989. Royal Exteriors. Call for a free estimate, 401-533-9989. Royal Exteriors, where the customer is king. Remember, king or queen. If you're listening or watching right now on this Wednesday and you need a new roof, or you're thinking of a new roof or siding, call Royal Exteriors today. Get them in the mix for a free estimate. 401 533-9989. You can find them on Facebook and then also their Facebook page, but they have a great Facebook page, but they're online at royalexteriorsri.com. Now, I also want to remind you, I received a nice email from Teresa. Why did she email me? Well, number one, she enjoys the program. Number two, she's been having problems because suddenly she has problems with her feet. And she said, I heard you mention someone that I could call. Yes, call Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. Call them today, set up an appointment, 401-949-3220. 401-949-3220. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. Beautiful building, ample parking. All doctors are board certified podiatrists. They have 3 doctors available, and they perform all aspects of foot care from skin conditions, bunions, hammer toe. They treat injuries like fractures and sprains. The staff is tremendous. 5-star Google review. Remember, foot pain, as I reminded Teresa, it's not normal. Shouldn't be ignored. And if you go to a kiosk or some place that pops up where you have a teen or somebody saying, yeah, I can do some inserts for you. What? No, go to a doctor. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist, right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. Remember, call for an appointment, 401-949-3220 for Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. Folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Now, again, repeating our top stories on this lunchtime. Number one, I want to call attention to, by the way, next hour, you will hear our legal expert, attorney Tim Dodd. He's going to talk about the Karen Reed case. But just to recap, last night there was a shooting at the Hartford Avenue Project. We have the video of that up on both Facebook and also on YouTube. We'll have it up on depetro.com later. I want to commend Woonsocket Police. Andrew Martin is in custody. I believe he was in court earlier today. Terrible. Hit and run. Not only hit and run, sounds like it was intentional. At least the witnesses think so. So great job. He had been on the loose since July 1st. Also, we have Providence Police body cam video up on the website, depetro.com. So next hour, Tim Dodd. Yes, we're doing road patrol tonight. And you really want to see the Providence Police body cam. We have the link to it up on our website, which is depetro.com. This portion of our program, folks, is brought to you by J. Perry Paving. Call them 401-732-1730 for a free quote. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. Whether it's a new driveway or maybe it is you want your parking lot paved. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, 20 years experience, 20 years. Specialized commercial paving, residential paving, seal coating, free estimate. If you're listening right now on this Wednesday and you've been thinking of having your driveway paved, call J. Perry Paving today, 401-732-1730. So you're listening to the Real News at Noon. And folks, number one, I want to thank Ken Block, who I thought was great. Governor McKee, that press briefing yesterday on the bridge was an embarrassment. They have no answers. It's very clear that he has completely lost control of this project. He doesn't know what he's doing. There's no one being held accountable at DOT. But just the basic format of the project, the basic format, of the press conference was a disaster. And I don't know who set it up, whether it was it was obviously him and his staff, but this element where if you saw it, he tries to stack it. He had the head of the state police there. I have no idea why. He likes to have all these people there. And I mean, it's actually kind of transparent. We know why. So then he tries to just hide. But they had it that you had to stand to talk. And so he had to keep getting up and getting down and getting up. And then he would get up and talk. And then he would sit down. And then Director Alvini would. But it was all the back and forth of the questioning. And I completely agree with Ken Block. This notion that we put out that we need someone to rebuild the bridge, we knew no one would bid on it. That's absurd. He's got to go. He's got to go. And he was upset yesterday because he's coming to the realization he's not going to win. He doesn't deserve to win. He's in over his head. And he didn't, by the way, he didn't just inherit the bridge on December 11th. He's been the governor since March of 21. 3 years now. And he's clearly in over his head. I actually think the gubernatorial election for 2026, I think it could be Ken Block against Helena Foulkes. We know Helena Foulkes is running. I don't know if Ken Block would consider running, but I think that could end up being the general election. And now we're going to do this. We're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. President Biden holding strong. Let's get you up to speed with the 1 o'clock news. Next hour, you're going to hear our legal expert, Attorney Tim Dodd. He's going to talk about the latest with the Karen Reed case, Alec Baldwin, and also the Hopkinton situation. It's John DePietro, folks, repeating our breaking news story of this huge, massive fire, scrapyard on Allen's Avenue. Let's break. We are doing Road Patrol Live later, but let's break for the 1 o'clock news. The latest in Washington, Biden remains defiant. Tomorrow's his big press conference, by the way. We're back on the other side, right here on the John DePietro Show.